I'll just say that, and I've said it in public before and I'll say it again, it really, it threw me for a loop because in the 2 years that I was on the board, I've never heard anything negative about that solicitor or their firm. No problems whatsoever, and nothing brought up in any type of arena where there was a problem with that. So to have that firm replaced was a complete surprise to me, and I still don't know why.
Why did they not entertain any other possibilities in choosing from a candidate field of one to have this person as the new solicitor?
That to me was just overwhelming that any board would do that, would feel comfortable with it, and any law firm that would even accept to be hired that way. I can't imagine a firm knowing that they didn't interview any other firms and just take the job pretty much.
I asked the board president at the time, because I wasn't able to go to the meeting where they actually replaced the firm because it was a last-minute meeting, and so I asked her, I said, why wasn't any other firms on this list? Why don't we look into any other ones? And the board president said that she liked some of the work that this firm did on some other things, and the way she said it, well, I'm just going to throw it out there, and if he's hired, he's hired. If that firm isn't, then that's fine. So that was her, just to kind of let you know, when I asked for that, that's what was her response. She just thought, well, if it passed, it passed. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
We have a question from the audience about the. Go ahead.
Just talking. So, I'm sorry, not to doubt what you said. Is it Jim? About there can't be a referendum.
No.
According to the elections office down in Catania, no.
I guess what I'm trying to do is wrap my head around it, that we can just have the tax money taken away from us, whatever, and we can't have any say on it really, except for a disproportionate vote.
That's correct. I mean, yeah. You're right. I mean, we are, obviously that's why these 9 seats are very important, to get, hopefully, the right people that have vision, people that understand education, the importance of education, but also understand how to kind of run a business. And you're right. I mean, what they're doing, it's wrong. To me, it's unethical the way they're acting, and it's a shame. And it's a shame that we can't have a referendum, that there are no guidelines for it. So I don't know if we could potentially challenge the referendum guidelines to get stuff like this to be allowed to be put on a referendum, but I was just told when they looked into it that it didn't qualify.
Do you want to say anything about? Because I know some people.
Actually, Jennifer, didn't you look into that as well? Somebody contacted the Board of Elections, and we were told the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I know one of the things too. They said it had to be a statewide referendum question on a ballot. I believe too was one of the things.
And even if they did put it on a ballot, Pennsylvania is a non-binding state, so
it wouldn't be binding.
Yeah.
Nope. Somebody just handed me a question. What is it going to take to reverse this decision back to close Elderton?
April 6th.
5 votes.
That's a simple answer right there.
April 6th.
Would it take 2 years again to get it closed?
You know,
readdress the question asked.
He had asked, will it take 2 years again to close?
I don't. That's a good question, because I don't know if you would have to go through. We had to go through those public hearings with meetings with the public. Because possibly it may be a good question if it does officially reopen.
I think because, like Jim mentioned before, I was one of the ones that was pushing hard to close it sooner rather than later, because we were setting records on the number of retirements that year. And I don't think, I mean, there were the the requirements was just to have it publicized that you're going to have a public hearing a few weeks before. I, for one, if I'm still on the board, and if this comes up again, I will push hard to not let it take that long. I mean, I've learned a lot about a lot of people over these last 2 years, and I've tried to be very patient. I've tried to understand all sides of a situation and everyone's perspective, but at the same time, I need to do what's right for the entire district, and I'm going to push hard and heavy and fast to try to get this thing done. I'm not going to dilly-dally, as they like to say, in the future if this comes up again. And the other thing with that, too, one of the problems that we have, and we've seen this in the district, is once you decide to close a school or consolidate, as long as those old schools exist, it's so easy to reopen it. And I know with the Elderton situation, it was a little unique because the elementary shared a boiler with the high school. You know, they were physically joined, so it wasn't a matter of bringing a wrecking ball in and tearing it down. But you really need to, it has to be a consideration immediately following the closure, because as Joe said, all it takes is 5 votes. And so once you make a decision, you got to hold fast and do whatever it takes to make that a permanent decision.
Okay, I have another question from the audience. Board Director Solak posed a question on other 5 at the February 23rd meeting. Has the PDE given approval for reopening of Elderton?
I asked the same question. They won't make confirmation of that, I believe, until June, but there really isn't any. They're not going to say they don't. If a board opened it or voted to open it, then we suspect that they'll acknowledge that, but they'll confirm it sometime in June. They had request some charts and numbers from the district on enrollments, what they were before, what they're projected to be opening back up again. But I don't think that they're going to stop it from opening.
Okay. Another question. Will Elderton High School be on the school improvement list due to low PSSA scores for 2008-2009? And will this process cost ASD additional funding?
I don't know if it costs you the funding. I can't answer that for not meeting AYP, but they did not meet AYP in math, the 11th grade scores in 08-09. They were, I believe, 38% proficient. I think the threshold number was 56, if I remember that accurately. So they will be. They'll have to work to get that score up, or they'll be on an improvement plan in the fall.